All right, everyone, here we are with another video with Invest for Tomorrow. And to all the first-time viewers and investors, welcome to the channel. To all the subscribers, welcome back. And as we jump into this chart, I do want every single investor and viewer to be aware to stay tuned on in towards the end of this video, because we are going to discuss about another ticker symbol you won't want to miss. You definitely want to add it to your watch list with a lot of potential. It's a pretty speculative one, but it is doing pretty well. But we're going to talk about here about AMC stock and GME, Gamestop stock. So for every single investor and viewer coming around the video, please do so and subscribe if you learned something new. Just hang on tight so you guys can see everything I'm going to discuss with you guys. And don't forget to hit the like button to let me know you watch this video. It really helps out the channel. And I'm going to talk about some very controversial topics here. And I want us to just look at fundamentals and let you guys know why there's a possibility that we may not see certain of these stocks hit the highs that they've hit before, okay? And I know that some people may not want to hear this, but I'm going in deep and I'm sharing with you guys how I feel about it and the fact that that was some really wild stuff we've never really seen in the market. And the only way this could happen again is if opportunities were to present themselves that the masses, right? The collective masses of all investors get together and they go and find another stock, and a stock that's hit like the ones that they've chosen, right, in the past, like BlackBerry. They've chosen, AMC, Nokia, Express, we got even ZOM in there. We got Ocugen. We have GameStop being the leader of all of them. I mean, just all of these different stocks that have been chosen by, the Reddit, the Wall Street bets, as they call it. And there's only a way for this to happen again, and it's by finding newer stocks or trying to revive the same stocks, but we won't get the same results, okay? Because when this was started way back here, there was first investors, then it was announced, investors started to load up, and when you see this on the way back down, a lot of investors got discouraged because of all the halts that happened and the whole chaos of the fact that a lot of investors were being held from purchasing and selling and just only being able to sell. I mean, just a whole bunch of things. And like a lot of different brokerages were crashing. Well, they try to do it again, but it can only go so far because the masses aren't the same size anymore. And a lot of investors have a big question mark right here around this area, right? Around this whole entire situation, which is when it was going downwards. So they don't want to go ahead and get caught up in that. Again, a lot of investors, unfortunately, took a hit, took a small loss or a large loss, depending on their positions because of this. Or their profits were diminished to a smaller amount. So here we are seeing GameStop. And the first thing I want us to notice, or let me actually do it like this, is the fact that we have gone downwards, okay? The highest peak up here was in the 500s. Now the highest peak was 350. If this was to continue in a bearish trend going downwards, back down to level off, and then the next run happens, well, I do want to go ahead and draw this out theoretically. I could be completely wrong, but just based off the fundamentals, it's looking like this. It would end up being something like, bringing itself up, and then it'll bring itself back down again, and I would have to actually move now this red line and actually show you guys how it's actually going to be now. So let's go ahead and move this so you guys can see, and let's move this over to this new location. So in between that would be this point, which actually didn't get touched. So it would actually be something more of like along those lines, like it kind of touched there and then it pulled down. But basically the whole point is that it would go lower and lower, and the new spikes would be lower and lower and lower. And yeah, there could be the spikes happening like they've happened in the past, but every time it won't be as strong. Everyone was aiming for 1,000. I'm not saying it's not possible, but 1,000 is going to be a lot more difficult now than it was the first time as we saw it hit 500. So something I do want every single investor and viewer to be aware of, the possibility that, you might look at this and say, oh, we can reach 500 again. Now we're seeing that we weren't even able to break 350, and now we're going back down. So if this was to happen again, we might only hit 300 or anywhere between 250 to 300. So the opportunities are there, but you have to go ahead and set your limits or your goals, right, and expectations every time lower and lower. Now, a lot of investors have proven the system that when you come as a masses and all investors believe in a stock and investors are actually participating in this stock, it brings the stock up, and it's pretty amazing to see that. But do investors know the fact that it can go down just as fast? I believe we do, but when we're optimistic, we blind ourselves about that. So now that's GameStop. So let's go ahead and look at AMC, and we're going to look at some articles. So stay tuned. I mean, I'm just going off of the beginning of the example so you guys can see. So AMC is showing a whole different picture. Okay, GameStop shows us a direct line. It actually ran up before that. It's running up again. And AMC, a lot of investors are actually saying, you know what? AMC has opportunity here to grow. And I do believe in the short-term run-up, right, that we could see. It could possibly even break through those numbers if more investors are bullish, due to the fact that it will continue to go upwards because of the reopenings. And a lot of investors believe in the reopenings, AMC's, transition into changing its business model, this and that. But that's a short-lived run. We need to see if it can hold itself up. It's running up right now, and the highs that were reached is up here at 25, sitting at $13. Could it go any higher? I mean, we need to see. It's in the same position as, obviously, GameStop, pulling backwards, and we really want to zoom in here to see that it's pulling backwards right here. Now, AMC and GME, which is GameStop and AMC, they go inverse or the opposite of where the market's going. Now, sometimes they get pulled down with the market, but when the market is just crashing or doing terribly, this stock tends to go up. Like, it just doesn't listen to what's going on in the market. So pretty interesting to me how, this stock actually works, and also these both stocks, because there's individual investors, retail investors, loading up on these stocks. So let me go ahead and share with you guys how I feel about this. Could this hit $25? Very difficult to touch it again. Okay, I want to be real honest. If it does it, then the stocks prove me wrong and I am incorrect. And you guys can go ahead and challenge that down below on how you feel about it, but I like to be realistic. Could GameStop hit 500 again? Very difficult. I doubt it. Could it run up again? Possibly. So let's go ahead and look at some different articles. So the first one's about AMC. So Wanda Group, okay? They're trimming their holdings in AMC theater change. So they've been actually unloading, and they actually owned about 23%, and 47 of their voting power was combined. So they owned a very big portion of AMC, and their voting rights was 10% now reduced as of March 3rd. So AMC was running up, right, while this was happening. This is how AMC goes the opposite of what, even GameStop ran up. But let's go ahead and pull up AMC. So you can see here, while this was happening, it was running up, just the opposite. But it's very important to watch this, because this lets you know the future potential. When large institutions unload, which are the ones holding up the stock the most, the crash is going to be even harder, and it's going to be even harder for it to be lifted, because it's going to hit a newer low unless more retail investors hold these amount of shares that they went ahead and exercise. So very interesting to me. This is going to make it a lot harder for AMC to hold itself up when it comes back down to the $5 mark, or possibly even down to the $7 mark, and continues. So that's something to keep in mind when the cool off happens. But this is running up. The potential's there. We're seeing it run. We're going to have to see it through this turbulence, what's going to happen. So the second thing is, what makes AMC a new buy stock? This is the one that's bullish, and I really like this article because Zacks rank is very powerful. I don't know how much you guys believe in it or research it, but Zacks tends to be pretty well spoken out there when it comes to their buying and selling and holding positions, and they're hurt. So when they make a buy position or a number 2 or number 1, I mean, that's within their top 20% of their positions. So their top 20% stocks are in the number 2, number 1 area, nothing else. So AMC landed in this area. So they went ahead and, they talk about, the stock's price and the increase and decrease and so forth, but they are showing reasons why there's going to be some movement. So they're talking about the earnings that can actually grow, and there could be some, EPS growth over year. And they're basically saying the upgrade of AMC Entertainment to Zacks ranked number 2 position. It's now in the top 20% of the Zacks covered stocks in terms of estimate revision, implying that the stock might move higher in the near term. So AMC seems to have more room. AMC just received an upgrade through Zacks. Now, I don't know how many people believe in Zacks and how many people research Zacks, but I do, and they tend to be pretty accurate. And AMC is showing that. I mean, it's running up, and I think this is going to be a healthy pullback for AMC, and whatever it pulls back even more, it can probably bounce off of that. But going back to the Wanda Group, when things do cool off, and this does come back down to these levels, I don't think it's going to hold up at $5 anymore. It probably will break through that and go lower, because institutional ownership are the ones that hold up a stock. Okay, I want you guys to remember that. So let's talk about GameStop. Okay, so GameStop, here's one of the articles, and this came out earlier today. And GameStop leads meme stocks lower on the track for sharp weekly drops. So GameStop's looked as like Tesla when it comes to EV stocks with the meme stocks. It's like the leader out of the group. So shares of GameStop slid further in the earlier trade of Tuesday, continuing a slump that has seen the video game retailer stock shed a third of its value so far this week. So it pretty went down. It's pretty down. And they're basically talking about how one of the biggest runs we've seen so far was of GameStop at 1,600% when the short squeeze went ahead and happened. So other ones that are popular on the online retail traders declined early on Tuesday as well. AMC, and we have Cost Corp. Now, AMC, we saw the different approach. Wanda unloaded. They're probably just taking profits. They don't believe in this holdings anymore. They're probably going to move it somewhere else. And then we have Zacks Group upgrading it, and it said it right here in the near term. Okay, it can move higher in the near term, possibly when the reopening. I mean, AMC is on that list of reopening stocks and stimulus and just people going back to the movie theater. I mean, there's all that hype and speculation about it beyond the whole entire short sellers and squeezes and stuff like that. But GameStop is in a different position. It went up so high that it is going to have to cool off even if it ran up again. Now, this is where it gets interesting. So GameStop slides again amid wild ride for retail traders. So when the market got turbulent, we're seeing GameStop pull back. It had its fun run from here to here again. And now something I want you guys to be aware of is we have a billionaire investor of Pacific Investment Management go ahead and in live TV say he made $10 million betting against the stock. He wasn't betting with it, he was betting against it. While he admits getting in too early and having to hold on to the stock's wild ride, he said he's still betting against the company using options. He's selling call options at 250 to 300, which he sees as the perfect opportunity, Gross said in Tuesday's interview. So we have a billionaire betting against it. We don't know how many other billionaires are betting against it. And I know you guys are going to write down below. You can go ahead and put all the rockets you want down below and say we can all tear down the billionaires. We did it the first time. The first time was off guard. This time, it's definitely something that could be watched and monitored. And as he said, he's doing the call options, riding the wave, and then he's making money on the way down. So could this continue, this type of habit? Possibly, but this is where I want you guys to realize. The more institutional investors start going ahead and betting against the stock collectively and catching on to the ride, that's where it goes back to the fact that, you know, AMC has a possibility to run up, but GameStop, right, has the possibility to get squeezed not upwards but downwards every time. So yeah, we could see an effect that might bring itself back down, level off, bring itself back up, back down, level off, bring itself back up. And when you look at it, you're going lower and lower and lower. And this is almost like, you know, thinking about the thrill of the beginning run, and you're always trying to get back to that peak, and you're never going to get there. You're never going to get there. Now, I could be completely wrong, and all of a sudden, retail investors load up and just shoot this one up out of nowhere in a random, out of the blue, unexpected moment, like sometime in the future towards, you know, the end of the year or the middle of the year, you know, months from now or a year from now. That's fine. But right now, you know, this is being monitored and watched heavily, like to the point where they're making sure this doesn't happen again. And you could see how it ran up and fell fast. It ran up again and it's falling fast. Now, the only way it can get there again, and that would be kind of a wild ride too, is for it to go up like that and go up like that and go up like that, like a staircase effect. And it won't just happen in one quick run. If not, it's happening over time. And the more investors that are holding, the more it goes up. And then the investors that were planning on selling, you know, they saw it go up higher than they initially invested. So it keeps them there, pulls back, and they're like, oh, I'm breaking even, pulls up. And then they're like, oh man, I'm making a little bit more money, pulls back again. Oh, I'm still making money. I think this can pull up again. And it pulls up again. And more new investors continue to add up as it continues to go up. So that is a possibility as well. But I don't see that. I see it being more of this trend that the peak is going to get lesser and lesser and lesser. Could this behavior continue? Possibly. But the one thing I could tell you guys is 500 is going to get harder to reach. And now it just got harder to reach 350. That's what I'm seeing in the charts. AMC is going in a different direction for a temporary period of time, but it's going to end up being back wherever GameStop goes, which is probably going to be down. And I do want you guys to be aware of that and pay close attention to that. Now, could we continue to see spikes throughout the year and all that wild ride? Sure. And I can't wait to see your guys' thoughts. But I'm not a bear. I'm just, you know, analyzing the fundamentals and looking at things from this perspective. And just like I'm catching on to the fact that every time it's becoming less, you know, institutional investors are becoming aware of that as well. We just saw a billionaire talk about how he's writing it up, and he's also betting against it, which basically makes him money. So he's catching on, and now he's selling between the $200 to $300 range, and that's what we're going to see next. So this is going to pull back down or stay in that point, run up a little bit, and then pull back down or something like that. But 200 to 300 is the next peak if we were to see this cool off in this direction and pull up again. But 350 is going to be much harder to reach, and $500 is much harder than 350 now. So once we see the next peak, it's going to get harder to get there and so forth. And it's going to keep diminishing, and it's only going to be able to be done for so long. As always, guys, I hope you guys learned something new. And if you know this information now, you can be prepared for the next possible opportunities. But this is not financial advice. I'm not here to tell you guys to buy, sell, or hold any positions in GameStop or AMC or any stocks that we talk about. But I do want you guys to be aware and be prepared. But it's looking like it's getting harder and harder to reach those highs. But there isn't anything wrong with catching it at the bottom before it runs up again, which can possibly be a repeating effect. It's just the peaks are going to get less higher and less higher every time. Thank you guys so much for watching, and let's make some money. Welcome back, everyone, to another video here with Invest for Tomorrow. And we're going to talk about a ticker symbol that I've been discussing back over since February 20th when it was sitting at 229. The market was getting a little bit rocky. We saw some room here for downside potential with the RSI, and we were looking at it, and there's no better time than to start looking at ticker symbols as they're consolidating or pulling downwards. So since the market was a little bit rocky, we already knew that the RSI was looking a little bit with room on the downside, and we wanted to watch it, and we certainly did. And also we also were seeing how institutional investors were loading up earlier in February, and we're going to look at that in just a moment. So this is the website to CLBS stock, and if you want to know more about this company, definitely come check it out. It's caladrius.com. You will find so much information here on what they plan on doing, what their events are like, and you could do more research. But let's go ahead and jump into it. So it's sitting right now at 210. It's been picking up since these lows down here of 156. We started watching it here at 220, 225 range, as you saw, 221 in that last graphic. And it's been pulling downwards, and the whole market was pulling downwards. And now the market's pulling back up. It's been pulling itself up, but something just came out for Caladrius Biosciences, and we're going to look at that in just a moment. And just to show you guys institutional ownership, there has been some that have loaded up since the beginning of February, and this was like the middle of February, and all the way back here, we could see that most of the loading up happened in February. Now we could see also some big institutions involved in this. We got Vanguard right here with 342,000. We also have Morgan and Stanley. They're being a little bit conservative, but they still have 11,000. And we also have BlackRock. They also have a position here down here with 30,000, and they're showing us their share price as well. So right now, all these companies are pretty much up, and some of them are on the downside. You can see here Bank of America Corp at 239 price per share of 800 shares, and some of them probably were easing themselves in, and we've had Vanguard load up some more now in March. So that lets us know how they really feel about this one moving forward. So very interesting to me. And let's go ahead and see here what is the game changer for this and what analysis ratings are. So Caladrius Biosciences announces orphan drug designation for CLBS-12 for the treatment of Buerger's disease. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure how that is pronounced, and I don't like to offend science at all by mispronouncing any words. But one thing that is very true here is that this is a treatment for that disease, as we see here, B disease, also known as, I don't even know how to say that either, but it's a condition related to critical limb ischemia, CLI, with no approved treatments to date in the US. So the whole point here is all of this is science, right? But what makes this even more interesting, if you want to understand more about what this is and what type of disease this is and how rare it is, that can give you some insight about the company's potential with this FDA approval. And they went ahead and stated here that they're very pleased that the FDA has granted the orphan drug designation to CLBS-12 in the B disease without a currently approved or effective treatment for this condition in the US. A significant unmet need remains for the therapies that slow, stop, or ideally reverse this debilitating disease. This is the first approved treatment for this specific disease. You'll have to see how rare it is. I don't have much time to add that into this video. I'm actually going to do more research on it. But right now, CLBS-12 is the only approved by the FDA to treat this disease. It's a game changer, and their focus is to go ahead and do cellular therapies designed to reverse disease. This company is going to be reversing diseases in the near future with so many other drugs that they are in the clinical stages with, and as they continue to present these to the FDA, some may get approved, some may not. But right now, this is big news for this company, okay? Especially even for this disease, if it truly can treat it and reverse it or do treatment to it to change the lives of anyone with this disease, this company is making big moves. So let's go ahead and look at analysis ratings. So the first thing is how we have the buy and the hold. So they've been saying this is a buy and a hold since 180 days ago, which is 6 months back. And we've had the price targets go down almost $1 at one point 30 days ago, and then it's back up to 10. So it's really gone down in the last 180 days, 50 cents. It still has an upside of almost 400%, 376. 3 are buy ratings, 1 is a hold, And then if we pull up here as well on this side, we also have one buy rating from Wall Street Analysis going up to the upside on $10. That right there is a big deal. I mean, right now the stock is sitting at close to 210 at market close, but after hours, right, it actually dipped a little bit and pulled itself back up, and it's sitting close to 218. So we need to see how this plays out moving forward. I know that the market could continue to be rocky, but this is definitely a stock you want to have on your watch list. And in the long run, if this drug, right, that has been approved and they get more drugs approved to treat and reverse diseases, this company is onto something for the future and changing lives. And those are the type of stocks that, even though it's a penny stock, it's something to think about, do your due diligence, and make a rational decision as an investor. I'm not here to tell you guys to buy, sell, or hold any positions, and I'm not a financial advisor. But if you found this helpful and informative, and you did not even know about this company, or you wanted to know more about it, and you learned something here, please hit that subscribe button if you're a new viewer, and don't forget to hit the like button. Every single viewer, subscriber or not, hit that like button for me to support the channel and let me know that you watched this video. Institutional ownership has been going up. Analysis ratings are shooting this one up 300+%. And this FDA approval, and excuse me once again that I can't pronounce these words, but just the fact that they have the only cure right now, or treatment better said, for this debilitating disease, it is a big deal, or a big step forward for CLBS to do and realize the goal of fulfilling the unmet medical need for this disease for patients around the world, as they stated here in this article. As always, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and let's make some money.